Hi guys, it's Ray. It's been so long since I posted a YouTube video and I apologize for that. I was just getting a lot of new equipment set up, etc., as you can see. But I'm back now and I'll be posting videos every week. So please stay tuned and click that subscribe button if you aren't subscribed already. I'd be very thankful for that. Today's video is a remake of the very first video I did on this channel because I'm going to be removing all of the videos that I've created thus far. Not because they're bad videos or anything, it's just that the quality of them isn't the standard that I'd like them to be. So I'm going to redo those videos with a little bit more information in them, so they're not going to be carbon copies by any stretch of the imagination, okay? So with that being said then, this video is called Be the Future. Now, if any of you have been on my website, you will have seen that on my logo, it says Be the Future underneath. And now, what do I necessarily mean by Be the Future? Why is that my logo? When a lot of spiritual teachers, teach that we should live in the present, and we should, by the way, don't get me wrong. But let me just explain what I mean by that. Yes, we're meant to be present, okay? The present moment is the window to our true self. The present moment, however, is also the window to all other versions of ourselves, all other versions of our true selves, all other potential future versions of ourselves, and even, of course, all other past versions of ourselves too. They all exist in that eternal now, that window of infinity, whereby every being, past, present, and future, and every version of that being, they all exist simultaneously in that one moment. Even though from a linear perspective, it may seem as if, situations and timelines, etc., they're all segregated, but they're not. That's the illusion of Maya. That's the illusion of separation. My logo says Be the Future because a lot of people ask me, who's your idol? Who do you draw inspiration from? And even though I've got a Rafa Nadal cap on, I wouldn't say he's an idol at all. He's definitely an inspiration, the way he plays tennis on the court, along with Djokovic, of course. Both of them I'm tremendous fans of both of them. But really who I prefer to draw an inspiration from is my future self, because my future self is always one step ahead of me. And that's okay. My future self sometimes maybe 10 steps ahead of me. It depends on how far into the future I want to go when I'm envisioning him and connecting to his state of being. Okay. A lot of people allow their past experiences to define them. They cling on to their memories and their trauma unconsciously because they allow their identity to be defined solely through those kind of experiences and their memories. But there's a reason why in the Bible, for example, Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt when she looked back. God told her not to look back. Do not look back. And she did, and she turned into a pillar of salt. That's symbolic, of course, it's allegory. And what it really symbolizes is if you're going to keep allowing the past to define you, you're going to be disempowered. You're not going to be able to move into your true self because the past is the old self. The past is who you used to be. It's not who you are in the here and now, and it's certainly not who you could potentially be in the future. So there's a lot of power staying present. There's a lot of power even looking forward. If you're looking forward in a creative way, don't get me wrong, you can also look forward in an anxious way. That's what anxiety is, looking into the future, believing, oh shit, this is going to happen, etc. But it just depends on the way you do it. Okay. Looking into the future, then the key to doing that is the imagination, of course, because anything you can imagine exists in the here and now. Anything, any version of yourself that you can imagine exists in the here and now. Novak Djokovic, for example, his dream when he was a child was to win the Wimbledon title. And what he would do, he used to cut little Wimbledon trophies out of cardboard and gold tinsel or whatever, and create that actual type trophy for himself and see himself in the mirror holding that up. And him doing that connected to him as a child to his future self, who has won it 6 times now. He's won that title 6 times, and he always references back to his past self, his, child self, who, of course, our inner child we should never lose touch with, because the inner child is our true self ultimately. I'll get more into that on another video, of course. I don't want to go too off course, but Muhammad Ali also said this: if my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, then I can definitely achieve it. So if you can envision yourself doing something amazing, then you have the potentiality and the capacity to do those things. Now, it doesn't mean that there won't be any hard work involved. Of course there will, but what happens is when you connect to your future self, you get inspiration and guidance from them because they've already done it. So emotionally, you're connecting to their perception, and then it becomes a little bit easier to achieve those things because you're already in touch with the version of yourself that's done them. And that's why everybody's hero, everybody's true idol should be their future selves, should be their selves who have achieved all of the things that they aspire to achieve in this life. Matthew McConaughey, another actor, he said, I think he was in The Wolf of Wall Street. He was asked when he was a teenager, who is your hero, by somebody, and he said, let me come back in a week and I'll answer that question for you. And the person said, okay. 1 week later, they asked him again, who was your hero? And you know what he said? He said, my future self is my hero. And then when I become that future self, then the next future self is my hero. And in that way, if you're looking at reality in that way, then of course, you're always going to have room to grow. You're always going to be aspiring to become something even greater than yourself. It doesn't mean that you completely negate the here and now. You don't at all, because you need to deal with the here and now. You need to be present while simultaneously connected emotionally and mentally to that future self. So you're still present, because really the future is an illusion anyway. That version of yourself exists right now in this present moment too. So the present moment is the key and the window to all realities. Yes, it is indeed. So we're playing a game here. Life is a game, and really your personality is the character that you're playing in the game, okay, or in this cosmic drama. The Greek word persona means mask, and that's where we get the word personality from. The personality really is a mask that we're wearing. Now, once you truly understand the nature of reality, you're then at liberty to customize your personality in any way, shape, or form that you prefer. You can align with any version of yourself that you prefer to. So if you want to see yourself as smarter or, funnier or more laid back or more chilled out than you usually are, less stiff, less tense, less anxious, etc., you're definitely capable of doing that if you know how to connect to those future versions of yourself that are no longer those things. So really, yeah, we do have the ability to really redefine, change, shift who we are. We have that power, and it's all about being the future now, bringing that future self into the here and now. That is the key. And that's really the basis of a lot of my work. I help people really connect to their future selves, help them see that time isn't linear, which means that they do have that ability to, have that foresight, which enables them to envision their future self. That's what visualization really is. It's about imagining, visualizing yourself as your future self, feeling what they would be feeling, doing what they would be doing. Like all of those things really locks you into that state, and eventually you become that version of yourself. But then you don't stop there. You may want to, it's up to you, of course, but there's always more and more to achieve. There's always more and more to become, and that's fine too. But if you have truly mastered the art of being present as well, then of course, you'll also know that deep within you, you're already whole. You're already whole within yourself. Your soul is whole already. It's just that the mind, decompartmentalizes your consciousness, and you become segregated as a result of that. Emotionality is the key to really connecting to your future self. Emotionality is a lot stronger than thoughts. A lot of people in, the law of attraction circles or metaphysical communities, etc., say that our thoughts create our reality. Not really, because if your emotional state isn't aligned with those thoughts, then it really renders those thoughts obsolete. They don't really do anything. It's your emotions that create reality. Feeling, as Neville Goddard said, is the secret. Okay, so if you can feel like your future self, and you can feel as if you already are the person that you desire to be, then eventually you will become them. Like I said before, there will be a little bit of work involved, but that's okay. If you truly want to create that reality and experience that version and timeline, that you prefer, then you will put in the work to actually become them. Nothing will stop you from doing that if that's what you truly prefer. So yeah, that's why I have Be the Future on my logo. I want to help people really see through the illusion of linear space and time, because linear time is in some ways the enemy. Believing that we are defined by the past creates a lot of problems for us. And we hold on to a lot of traumas and wounds as a result of believing that the past should define us when it doesn't have to. The future can define you as much as you allow the past to define you. And once you truly know that, you realize freedom from the old self. In astrology as well, Saturn represents the past. Saturn is known as Kronos, the god of time itself. Okay, and really overcoming Saturn's space-time illusions is the key to self-mastery. Really, Saturn is correlated with Satan as well. That's why the words are spelled very similarly. And when I say Satan, I don't mean some guy with horns and a a stick. Not at all. I don't mean anything like that. I'm talking about Satan is that illusion of separation. Satan is that illusion of time. That's that segregation that happens in consciousness, where we believe, oh, me and you, we are separate entities, when ultimately we are one at our core. But that illusion is necessary to have a physical reality experience. So again, I'm not negating that kind of, illusion. And the illusion isn't necessarily negative at all. Once you know how to use time, then you can bend it to your will. Only those who know they are timeless can go beyond it. So once you realize your timeless nature, and you realize that all beings that have ever existed and ever will exist right now, then you can connect to any being that you want, any future version of yourself, even in another incarnation as well. So really the key for me personally, in my experience, is learning how to master time. And once you master time, you become timeless in your true self. Okay. Before I end this video, I also just want to give everyone a little shout out who's reading my book, The Labyrinth. It's selling like wildfire at the moment and spreading around the world. There's people all over the world buying this. And I'm just so thankful for everybody who is enjoying it and giving me all the nice comments and feedback from the book. I published this version in August last year. Over Christmas, I wasn't feeling too good, so I didn't really have time to promote it or anything. But if you are interested in a copy of that, of course, and all this future self stuff is in that book as well, then just check the description below. I'll leave the link there. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be posting more very soon. For now, take care.